up in the recruiter's eyes. So, look, we know what he brings. He's that running player out of the back line. So, look, the Eastern Football League are going to have to pay a lot of attention to him this afternoon.
Yeah, and I think the ground suits a player like Courtney Dempsey as well. He's very quick and wide open expanses of Bayswater Oval. You've got to move the ball very quickly, which he's very good at. And it was a bit unfortunate to see that Four Corners episode a couple of weeks ago in regards to how he left the game and how he felt.
But I think, though, Dan, I think, these are the sort of stories, right? And I mean, look, it wasn't only football that expose, but it just shows you, right, how elite sportsmen, how they feel. We don't understand. It's all right for us to stand on the outside and say, oh yeah, they're not going so good, but when you see the Courtney Dempsey story and all the other stories, I think it puts everything back into perspective.
Yeah, certainly does. Another player that stands out, jumps off the page for the Essendon District Footy League, of course, is Cameron Cloak.
Yes.
Now, we've seen him, I saw him walking around earlier this morning, and he's a huge unit. So whoever matches up on him from the Eastern League has got their work cut out for them.
And I think the other thing that comes into play there is that, you say the word Cameron Cloak and immediately people will go, oh yeah, he wasn't that good in the AFL. He wasn't. There's no such thing as an AFL player that's no good. You don't make the AFL if you can't play football.
No.
And you don't make it in a situation where you're able to play at the highest level for a few years if you can't play football. So this boy can play football. Don't worry about that. Again, I'm really looking forward to him, but the one I'm looking forward to is Dean Galea.
Yep.
He's the one I want to see because you talk about pedigrees. Here's a guy who's kicked, he's been VFL Team of the Year, VFL, I think he's won the goal kicking twice. He's kicked 100 goals in First Division in the Essendon Footy League. He's been a superstar and he is a big unit that is a bit of an old style full forward, but I tell you what, he can play footy.
Yeah, when we're looking at a couple of possible matchups, well, I think, I think Stewie Hill might have to get the job on him first up, and I think probably one of the other options the AFL could use is maybe using Jake Tucker at centre half back to play on Cameron Cloak if Cloak lowens up in that forward line, because it's look, you put those two guys in there, we're going to have to basically play our two best backmen on those two players.
And you throw Rose in there for them. Patrick Rose, really good forward as well. That's not to say that we haven't got him. I mean, they'd be looking at us and go, well, who are we going to put on Tom Hill, who's 6'15", and who can kick the ball 60, and who are we going to put on Lee Williams, who's no slouch when it comes to creative, smart forwards as well. So both sides have got those absolute match winners, and they really are match winners in their forward halves, and I think that's the exciting part of today.
Joining us on the panel now, it's a very good afternoon to Ray Baird.
Good afternoon, guys. Great to be out here at Bayswater, and I've just been listening to your comments there on their two big key forwards, and I agree with everything you said, but I think that one of the advantages that I see that the Eastern Footy League are going to have, you spoke of Stewie Hill in particular. These guys are going to be playing on a big unit, but Stewie Hill is very good in the air, and I just believe that he's going to be capable of running off these big guys as well, because he's super quick when he gets going. Another guy that you didn't mention from the Essendon Football League, and I've heard big raps on him, is Josh Toy from Aberfeldy, a small forward.
Ex-Gold Coast son.
Yeah, he's going to be one that the Eastern Footy League going to have to watch.
It's interesting looking at how many Aberfeldy players there are in that squad. Because Aberfeldy, I suppose, are the equivalent to maybe a Vermont or a Baldwin in the Essendon District Footy League. And looking at a couple of those names, Daniel Thompson from Aberfeldy is, of course, the son of Bomber Thompson. And Joel Madden, I'm not too sure which Madden brother he is related to, whether it be Simon or Justin, but there's a very famous name in football as well.
Well, that was where Brock McLean played last year at Aberfeldy. So, I mean, look, and Brock's come to the Eastern Football League this year and has performed really well at this stage of the season. One of the other things, gentlemen, just quickly talking about the game today, what interleague games do with players. I actually reckon these are the sort of games where coaches, when they're looking at their squad, they're probably also looking at players is which player, right, can I play in a position that's not foreign, that is foreign to them, that can also give me value, not only in his position that he plays at the club, but in a position that may be foreign to him. And these are, and to me, this is what the Interleague's about. The players that are selected are going to have to play in positions that they're not used to, and produce quality football.
Well, it's a bit like when you pick an all-Australian team, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you pick the side and you suddenly find that your key midfielder's playing on a half-back flank or in the back pocket. But when you look at the fact that you can only get 4 midfielders in. So I think one of the things about the Interleague is making sure that the players you get, are in form. So that's number one. And number two, mentally they can accept those challenges, because there are players that can't accept it.
No.
Not that they pigeonhole themselves, but they really like being a certain type of player. Well, in the Interleague, dependent upon your opposition, you may have to be moved around considerably, and it's about the player that can adapt. And we talk about a Matty Ava. That's why Matty Ava's so good, in the fact that he can play halfback, he can play tall key back, he can also play midfield, and he can play forward. Now, he's not going to play all those positions in the one game.
No.
But he accepts the fact that when he gets put into those roles, it's not because it's a failure of him to be able to play in his favourite position, but that's exactly what's necessary to be competitive on a day like today. So I think that's where the key thing is. And I agree with you, Dan. I had a look at their side, and you've got Aberfeldy on top of the ladder, unbeaten.
Yep.
And they've got predominantly, I think there's 6 or 7 out of that side. You have a look at the next 2 teams in the competition, which are sitting at only 1 loss each, and they've got another 7 or 8 players from those 2. So they have picked players that are from the top 3 sides that are in form. So that's an interesting way that they've gone about it. There's only 1 second division player in the entire group out of both sides, and that's Cloak. There's not 1 other second division player in the competition playing in this, so really interesting to see the makeups of both sides.
Yeah, look, you did right, Dave, about what you were saying about, players playing in their set position, and they like to be in their comfort zone. But but out there today, irrespective of if they are playing, if they're a normal centre half back and they're playing centre half back, they're still out of their comfort zone a little bit, because they look around them and there's not the familiar faces around them, and they will know it back in the back of their mind that they're going to have to work their butts off, because the delivery to the forwards in particular is not going to be as regimental as it is in their own side. So no, look at what I like about what the EFL have done this year. They've picked guys on form. There's some big names that have been playing in this competition for the last 2 seasons, and and I look at the teams. 1 player from Baldwin, 1 player from Noble Park. I know Baldwin's down the bottom of the ladder, but in the past years, I just felt that we fell into the trap of playing some guys on reputation. Now, these young kids in this side today, irrespective of what club they come from, kids will give you, as you know, they'll give you 100%, 110%. And to me, the last 2 games that I've seen in the Interleague at Optus Oval and also Simmons Stadium, we got beaten with our outside run. I don't care what anyone else says. And that, to me, you've got to have young kids with plenty of pace. And not only they got pace, got young kids, they've got guts as well. They're not afraid to get in and get the ball.
And the good thing is too, sorry David, that they've got enthusiasm as well. They want to play. They're out there because they want to be there, which is the main thing. And you look at Rowville, who got 4 players named. They're going all right in Division 1 as well, and they're a fantastic family club too. So that comes into play as well.
But I think the other thing about it is that young players don't have a reputation to protect.
No, you're right.
They have reputations to forge.
Yes.
And so doing this sort of thing often is the making of some of these young guys, because they're not worried about, well, if I play badly in this, how am I going to be looked? Well, no, they're just coming out to play football. And you have a look at some of the players, and I think the other thing that they've done in the AFL is that, for example, if you pick Hill to play centre half back and you pick Ava to play on a half back flank, suddenly you pick 2 guys to play regularly in those positions together, so there is that chemistry already. So you're not having to create chemistry, you've got a little bit there already. And maybe that's the line with Essendon as well, picking as many players as they've got from Aberfeldy, because of the fact that they're on top, they're in form, but there's already a known chemistry about them, which must help. It must help. And as Ray said, if you pick a lot of players purely on name that are not in form, well, the chemistry doesn't matter.
No.
So it's really important in that area.
Updating scores in the under-19s, it's Eastern Football League pretty comfortably over Essendon District at the moment. 8-7-55 playing 4-4-28, just about to tick into the 10-minute mark of the third quarter. And of course, you can pick up that feed live through our streaming on efl.org.au. Obviously looking at going back to the team list though, guys.
Yep.
If we look at North Ringwood are a club that's well presented as well, aren't they? They've Peter Banfield's obviously on board with the idea of his players playing in the Interleague, and it's great to see that so many, particularly where North Ringwood had come from Division 3 and done the I suppose the double leap up to Division 1, that now they've got they're well represented in Interleague.
Yeah, and a lot of this, I believe, is because of Brett Moyles there. And he's got, he's the coach. He's got every right to say the players that he's want. And it's not totally up to him. We know that there is a selection panel as well. But he knows the players from North Ringwood. He knows what they can do under pressure and the things that he wants them to do. Whereas maybe it's a little bit not so familiar with him. Some of the other players in the other sides, he doesn't really know how they're going to stand up under pressure.
But you talk about the 4 players from North Ringwood, and you have a look at them. You've got a 6'7" forward in Hill, who's going to be pretty hard to match up on. So you'd put him in. You've got Whelan, who we know is a quality mid, who can play a bit forward as well. You've got someone like Van Noonan, who's come from the VFL system, comes in. We know he can play some serious football.
And David, he played very well last year in the Interleague game.
Without a doubt. And then you've got Tim Jones. So it's not that they've picked players based on maybes. They're quality footballers. They're 4 quality footballers.
No doubt. Another man that catches our eye here in the Eastern Football League. He's been good enough to join us on pre-game. He is the assistant coach of the Eastern Footy League. It's a very good afternoon to Steve Cochran.
Good afternoon, guys.
Steve, we were just talking before about the massive importance of this game. We all believe the Eastern Football League belongs in the main game, playing off for the #1 rank. Has that been drilled into the team this week?
Look, it has. We're probably more focused on ourselves and focused on the group that we've got. We've picked a pretty young side. I think the average age is about 24. We're after speed. We're after enthusiasm and that ability to really move the ball quickly.
How's the group gelled? Of course, we were out at training during the week, and one thing that became apparent to us when they were doing the warm-downs, that there weren't 2 guys from the one club just chatting amongst themselves and creating cliques. All the guys have really gelled well, haven't they?
Yeah, look, it's tough for these guys. We've only been around for about 3 weeks. We're trying to bring a group together. Naturally, they've built relationships throughout the years, playing against each other, and look, I think most of them, know what, and respect each other for what they've done on the field in the past, and I think they're looking forward to get out there today.
You're used to coaching in big games, of course, having coached at Blackburn and Vermont and a lot of finals and everything like that. How does this compare to finals footy?
A little bit different, I've got to admit. Look, I suppose, to be representing the EFL and having the best players playing against another competition is always a fantastic moment. And look, to compare it against coaching your own side in a grand final, it's pretty tough. But look, I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys have got to deliver.
That was going to be my question, sort of along those lines of the coaching. You haven't a rest. The coaching juices have come back to be in this situation. How have you enjoyed the fact of you coming back to be part of this coaching group, working with Brett Moyle? Has it reignited that coaching flame just a little bit more?
Yeah, look, I was pushing it down for a fair bit over the 6 months. I kept myself away from footy, but yeah, look, I've got to admit, we just did a talk then. I couldn't help myself, and I had to chime in and add my little bits and pieces. But look, it certainly has. It's all I know is footy, and been involved in footy since I was 7, and it's hard. It's a hard thing to ignore, but look, my family's enjoying the time that I'm with them now, and you don't realise how much time you invest into footy until you sort of finish. And but yeah, look, it has ignited a little bit of excitement around coaching again, and we'll see what happens in the future, I suppose. And
the other thing is, I suppose, when you have a short amount of time, you can't incorporate lots of different things when you talk about set plays and all that sort of stuff. How much do you pare it back when you're talking about the structures that you need to include in a game like this?
Yeah, look, it's a good question, but I think a very good question. I think what's happening in this modern day footy is everyone's doing this very similar. You know, they're all pressing back, they're all pressing up. Pressure's, a key fundamental. In my day, you rest forward, you have a rest, but these days there's no such thing. So I think those key fundamentals we just take into this game, and even during the home and away season, it's really the side that can execute those key fundamentals, the best that generally win, and today we've just gone ahead with those key fundamentals again, and pressure will be a big factor, moving the ball quickly will be a big factor, and hopefully we've picked a side that can gel together very quickly and be able to execute.
Steve, last night on the huddle we spoke to Jeff Geeshan, who's their director of coaching, director of coaching of the Essendon Football League, and I asked him about the coaches that come back to local football, the knowledge that they have, and what I want to put to you, you pretty well summed it up before, but not only the coaches coming back like yourself and Moyley, but these players out there today, they know what football's about inside out, don't they? They know the game plans and different strategies and that.
Oh, 100%. Look, I think with the whole way football's evolved in the last sort of 10, 20 years with the TAC level, they're coming, they're getting more and more professional, which is putting a lot more pressure on local coaches who are only part-time, by the way. Yeah. But we've got to keep up to speed with what's happening out there, because the expectation when they come into your club is that you know these strategies and that you can execute them. And the tough part for local coaches is that we've got sort of four hours a week to try and execute a massive strategy and game plan and get everyone singing on the same hymn sheet. So it's a really tough thing to do.
Hey Cockers, it's Brash, mate. How are you?
Good, thanks, Brash.
Look, when you're looking for intel, on games like today, being able to get any sort of info, like being able to look at any clips on some of the plays from your opposition, and you had any spies out there telling you what you can expect this afternoon?
Well, I normally had you, and sent you the odd text message and phone call, but
well, I have something here.
You've given me nothing. Look, no, not really. Like I said, we've just focused on our guys. We've got a quality bunch of guys who are skillful. Look, I mean, Courtney Dempsey, Cameron Cloak, Rose, all these guys, look, we know footy and they're great players, and I'm sure they're going to, put on a great performance, and I'm sure we're going to give them a run for their money.
David?
Just lastly from me, where do we win it today? Where is it that you think that the EFL is going to get over the line? What area of the ground do you think is the key thing that you're looking at?
Speed of ball movement. So
Short and sharp.
We've picked a side that's can run. If we can get our hands on the ball and move the ball the way we want to move it, we've got some great key forwards who are all very mobile. So we're hoping that that's going to be the trick for us, and time will tell.
Well, Steve, we very much appreciate your time with us here on EFL pre-match on game day, of course. It is the 2017 WorkSafe AFL Victoria Community Championships. All the very best, and go the mighty Eastern Football League.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Good
Steve.
stuff. Bye.
Steve Cochran, the assistant coach of the Eastern Football League. Robbie Costello, the assistant coach of Essendon District, to join us in just a moment. But Steve Cochran's done a fantastic job, hasn't he, with the way that he's, I suppose, made the transition from coaching and into Interleague.
Oh, without a doubt. And look, as a coach, you admire, you're always looking at what other coaches are doing. And I must admit, over the last probably 8 or 9 years, one of the things that I've really enjoyed doing is looking at the way Steve's gone about it. And when he was at Blackburn, his ability to get that side into finals, I think, was because of his coaching. Not because he had some good players, but I think he revolutionised the game a little bit. He just changed it a bit, and his coaching was sensational. He's gone to Vermont, again, under a lot of pressure. I mean, anybody that goes to coach Vermont is under pressure. I don't care who you are.
Exactly.
Right. And he was really good at what he was able to do there. He's very, very good in the way he thinks, and he's able to get that message across to his players. And look, he'll work really well with Moyley. He'll probably be the calming influence on Moyley, I would imagine, because Brady certainly likes to get a little bit excited at times. But I think that'll be fantastic, and they'll work incredibly well together.
Well, one man that's ventured into, I suppose, enemy territory for pre-game, and he's been good enough to join us, Robbie Costello, the assistant coach of the Essendon District Football League. Robbie, welcome to EFL Game Day.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, really excited to be here today. It's going to be a good day for it. So.
It's difficult, I suppose, to look at the opposition's list, isn't it, when you probably don't see a lot of these guys throughout the course of a season. How have you guys approached the game?
We've been quite lucky. We've had Gibbo on board, who knows a fair bit about the Eastern Football League, who's given us a fair bit of intel. But in the end, I think it's when it comes to these sort of games, you just got to make sure that our boys are playing the right way and try and bond and play that team game of footy to get the chocolates in the end. I think so. We've put a little bit of work and we've got a bit of intel, but I think it's more just trying to get our boys prepared as well as we can.
Obviously, you're a pretty handy footballer yourself, and you were due to play today, but unfortunately, due to injury, you've had to pull out.
Yeah, I got stretched off a couple of weeks ago, and just had a bit of a nasty fall, but got up last week to play, but the body just needs a rest. I'm 31 now, and would have loved to play. You get a ground like this, and you get the itchy feet. And I wish I brought my boots now and shorts and socks to have a late run, but we've got a pretty strong side anyway, so I think the boys hopefully will be right.
Welcome to Bayswater, Rob, and we're really looking forward to the Essendon District giving the EFL a really good game this afternoon. One of the things that when we just having a look at the side that you've put together this year, predominantly based on the top 4 or 5 sides that are currently running around in the Essendon District Football League. Just tell us a few of the players that we should be looking out for this afternoon, because there seems to be a real bevy of quality on the field.
Definitely. We've had a lot better buy-in this year compared to previous years. Obviously, you'll see I think there's 8 players coming from Aberfeldy who have been the standout club the last few years in our competition. So, players like Luke Davis, Josh Cubelow from Aberfeldy. Then you got players like Dean Galea and Paddy Rose are known goal kickers at VFL level for multiple years. So, it's some exciting players going to be running around. We've got some young guys, running around also. So I think we've got the right balance at the moment. We've got big Benny Maybon, who's on Kangaroo's list there in the ruck for us. So we like to think that we've got a pretty good mix to hopefully give it a good hit out today.
And a couple of your guys from Marby Park made the squad. You would have been really happy to see your two get there and represent your club this afternoon. Yeah,
definitely. It's something that I'm really big on. Is the Interleague. So I actually told Dutchie when it comes to the Interleague, I'm happy to play all 18 of my players. So yep. I think we put forward 6 or 7 players in the end, and 2 were lucky to make it. Will Martinello, who I played a fair bit of footy with, he's a Goulburn Valley comp medal winner a couple of years back, so he'll be in the midfield for us. And Caleb Veering, who's been a classy player at Port Melbourne for a few years, and he's been at Melbourne Park the last couple of years. So. And with
the squad, I took very much notice with the initial squad that you picked. How hard was it in the end to pick the final 25? Because I tell you what, there were some quality players that didn't make that, whether it was they weren't available or were injured. So really, when you look at the depth of the Essendon League this year, it runs pretty deep.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the end we had a squad of 30, and a few players were very unlucky to miss out. They could have easily played today. So it always makes it tough, but I guess you try and pick a team that gets a bit of balance and a bit of versatility if you need to swing people forward or back, and go from there. So the 25 who are lucky enough to run out today, the 23 lucky enough to run out today, hopefully they put their hand up and they enjoy the experience. I guess that's one thing it's all about, is enjoying the experience today.
Well, Rob, I'm a little bit disappointed in you, mate. As an assistant coach, you didn't tap one of your Marby Park boys on the shoulder and say, listen, mate, you need to have a rest today, and I'm feeling okay.